Hello and welcome to the Success4 Meets podcast. My name is Joshua Lee Graham and today I am here with Gema Ramirez. Now Gema is an Amazon best-selling author, she's a speaker and a coach. Okay, so Gema, say hello to everybody.
Hello everybody and thank you Joshua for having me, for inviting me to your program. I'm delighted to be here, thank you.
Thank you, we're very grateful to have you. Now Gema, we're just going to sort of dive straight in. So an Amazon bestseller. So tell us a bit about the books that you've written and you've taken part in.
Thank you for asking. Well, it's been an incredible year, 2017, because I started the year with publishing this book. It's called Love Unboxed.
Yep. And
it's a collection of 20 stories from 20 different women, and I contributed with mine. It's the stories about broken relationships and sometimes even abuse. So the aim was to tell the story as it happened, to inspire other women, and all the women that contributed in the book have now come out of whatever they were into, and they're successful in whatever they're doing. And we aim to inspire other women that you can come out of an abusive relationship or a relationship you're not happy with, and there's always a way out, no matter how hard it is. And it's working. And that happened in January, and it became a best-selling book kind of straight away.
Yeah.
Then later in the year, I thought, oh, wow, one book a year, that's great, right? But yeah. I don't know how, but I contributed on the second part of Love Unboxed, which just came out in November, early December. And then that's out as well. In October, I went to Hollywood with a project called Phenomenal Women.
Yeah.
And as part of that, we wrote another book on how we build our businesses and tips on the things that we all do. And again, it was aimed to inspire women, in this case, to inspire them to greatness. That's the way I see it, and how you can build a business from scratch, even if you foreigner in a new country or whatever. Yeah. You can be great. Yeah. And as part of that, we also recorded a documentary that is coming out next year, and it will be broadcasted in America. So we're looking forward to that one.
That's absolutely awesome. So with all of that, Gemma, so you said like that was sort of from the start of the year that started to take off. So what was happening pre January before all of this incredible stuff started to happen?
Yeah. Well, I planned, and my word for the year was success. And the objective was to kind of get out there, known, have contacts, do lots of networking, starting to be more visible in social media, which before, 2 years ago, I didn't even have a picture of myself on Facebook. And now kind of everywhere, my stories out there, and I'm naked. And so that was the objective for the year. And I think that just by setting the objective, kind of it happened, and it happened more than I had expected, because I knew I was going to contribute in one book, and the year is finishing, and I have 4 contributions in 4 different books. So it's quite remarkable, really. Just by the intention. Yeah,
because something that stood out from what you were saying is getting yourself out there and networking. So with everything that you've done, things like collaboration seems as though it's a huge part. Yeah. Of you being where you are today. So can you sort of share a bit about the collaboration and networking side of things?
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I'm glad you brought it out, because I'm big in conscious leadership. That's my kind of subject and my vision in life, to everyone to embrace conscious leadership. And one of the key values of a conscious leader is collaboration. So we're not competing anymore against each other, we're collaborating, and we are creating a new world where people are just working together in groups or in partnerships, or even if you're doing it alone, but there are other people out there with the same vision and collaborating with you and supporting you. So what I've done, I've became part, because I knew that in order to do that, to be out there and kind of have a little bit more visibility, I needed people, and I started to collaborate. I was very lucky that Mark approached me and offered me to collaborate with you in Success4. That's been great, and I love working with you guys. Then I've been working with Global Woman for the There's an organization in London for the Phenomenal Woman Show. I have other joint ventures and other groups in Facebook that I've joined.
Yeah.
And networking events that I go to all over the world. It's about going out there and meeting people
Yeah, and that's a huge step. So for someone like you said to not have even had, you know, like your picture on social media, to going out there to making it happen, what advice would you give to somebody who's, you know, who wants to get out there, but they've still got that, you know, that sort of fear that's sort of holding them back from, you know, being on camera and really putting yourself out there as well?
Yeah, I totally understand that, because I had the same issue. Like, who am I to be in camera? What do I have to say? Or, you know, all these fears and doubts that come to mind. And one of the things that Mirella Sula, she's the founder of Global Woman, says is give a woman a microphone if you want to empower them, something like that. And it's so true. Once you get that microphone in your hand and you start, you can't stop. It's something that you like.
It is. It's crazy, isn't it? Because I mean, even for myself, once you're up there, once you get over that initial fear, there's something about being able to implement, and even those times where you feel as though it doesn't go well, you just want to get out there and you just want to do it again, don't you? You do. And I don't know if it's because when you're recording a video or when you're talking on a stage, people are actually listening, and listening is something that not many people do. So, and everybody wants to be heard. Everybody has a message and something to say, and everybody has the right to be heard. So giving them people the space, whether it's a podcast like you're doing today, or a stage somewhere, or an article in a magazine, is giving the people the space for them to express themselves, and that's beautiful. So my advice to people is just get over that fear. Maybe if you can help yourself, do it. If not, get a coach, and just see what the fear is and get over it. And I promise you will enjoy it. I mean, if I am enjoying it, I know how difficult it has been for me to be out there on stage. Everybody will. This is it, and I say the exact same thing. I just sort of think, wow, if I can really do this, if I can create everything that's happening now, then anyone can do it. And it's just about, like you said, it's a big step realizing that, you know, especially when you're early on in business and you feel as though you're isolated, you know, you start to detach from the people that you were connected to, and it's harder for you to make time for other people, because you get so, you know, you get so into what you're doing. So again, just can you just talk a bit about, you know, in terms of the, you know, like conscious leadership and, you know, having that support network, how important is it?
Yeah, it is very important, because I mean, we said that if we can do it, any other people can do it. So we know we can inspire other people, but also if another person have done something you want to do, you know that you can do it because someone else did it. So it also works the other way around. And being on a network of people helps both ways. You can have people to model, to copy. I prefer the word model. And okay, how did they do it? I'm gonna copy, and whatever they did that made them successful, or whatever it resonates with me, I'm gonna do the same thing. And having a network of people allows you to do that, and then other people get inspired by you. I know that many people are inspired by seeing, especially the people that have known me for many years, and they know how shy I was or how timid, and now they see me everywhere, and it's like, wow, how did you do that? And it inspires them. And maybe people won't go all the way I have done, but I know people will come out of the comfort zone and will do something they haven't done before, like even if it's traveling abroad, for example. I know people who never went abroad, and just by seeing me going everywhere, they get inspired, and they actually ventured themselves and went abroad. So little things we can inspire other people, and that's the magic of social media, and that's the gift that we have today, really, with all these this Facebook and all these other things that we have today to get to people so quickly, to inspire them and also to be inspired.
Incredible. And through previous conversations, I know you sort of got like an IT background. How do you go from that position there to speaking on stage in front of all of these people?
Yeah.
How is it? What was your journey? So what was your transition there?
Well, you have to be a bit crazy, first of all.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I think I always have the urge to do something different and to keep growing. And to me, it doesn't apply to everybody, but to me, if I'm in the same place all the time, I feel I'm not growing anymore and I need to move. So I kept moving all my life, different jobs. Okay, I've learned here what I needed to learn. And you know that feeling when you get complacent, that you're not giving as much as you were, and the job is not happy anymore. So that's the point that is fair for you and for the company for you to move on. So that's what happened. I mean, I really enjoyed my career. I got where I wanted to be. I learned a lot about project management, change management, IT training. And it got to a point that I started to hear all these things about coaching. And I thought, well, it sounds like the next step for me. I also had a spiritual background. I've been into spirituality for many years. And it felt like the link between the corporate and the spiritual bits, because many people come from the spiritual background and go to coaching and stuff like that. So that's what happened. I did my course, and as I was going through the course, my last contract kind of ended and it wasn't renewed, and that was the opportunity for me to start working as a coach as I was being trained. So that was kind of the going through.
That's amazing. And like you said, so things like leading projects and so from that background, also the spirituality. Mm-hmm. So in terms of conscious leadership, so what do you see as, the way I see it is the world is definitely changing, and things like management, the way you lead people is changing. So can you just sort of describe a bit more about how having the spirituality, having the the experience that you have has sort of merged together perfectly to create conscious leadership?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because to me now it's so obvious. It wasn't before. I used to be on the doing my daily job and then having my spiritual life on two different sides. There were two different roads, and it got to a point that they came together, and then I was running just in one road. And now I can see the advantages of having those two backgrounds, because for me, conscious leadership, I have this vision that everyone becoming or embracing conscious leadership, and I see that as the solution of today's challenges, because once we all become leaders of our own lives, and I'm not talking only about leading at work, it's about leading your own life, taking responsibility for your well-being, for your own happiness, knowing that there's nothing out there that can hurt you or make you happy. It's you from within that decides to be happy or decides to be hurt or not, and what to do with that. And that's being conscious, and that's being a leader. So once everyone becomes that, and we all raise in consciousness, acquiring higher values like love, compassion, and we lead from that, then the world will change. There's no other way. And then we will, wherever we are, in any community, in any work, in any family we are, as a conscious leader, we will bring those values and we will build things that bring solutions to the world, not just fix the things as they are now, but they will bring solutions that make the world a better place. So we hear about all these problems, the carbon and all that, the carbon emissions. So it's not about reducing the carbon emissions, it's about doing things that actually don't produce carbon emissions. Yeah. And with a conscious leadership mindset, that is possible. So that's why I see that being the solution for this.
Wow, that's huge, and you can just tell from the way that you talk about it that it's something clearly you're passionate about. And it's like you said, for so long we almost live separate lives, and when you can find that merge, then everything that you're doing now is clearly, it just comes naturally to you. And sort of something that you touched on as well, in terms of things like leadership and running your own business and stuff, because it definitely seems as though there's a shift moving away from the whole chasing the materialistic side of things, and understanding that your happiness isn't dependent on what car you drive and where where you take your holidays and stuff, but clearly through becoming a conscious leader, it's like you said, you don't, you don't always have the same settings. You're able to travel around and stuff. So what to you, what makes a conscious leader?
A conscious leader to me is someone who, first of all, takes responsibility. First of all, decides to be one. A leader, everyone is a leader, whether we know it or not. But the decision is to, actually, I want to lead properly, and I want to do it from love. So that's leading consciously. So a conscious leader first decides to be one, and then decides to acquire these values that are going to make them a better person, and is going to inspire other people to be better as well. And there's lots of different terms for leadership today, and to me personally, that's my own definition. Conscious leadership embraces them all. We hear about servant leadership, inspirational leadership, spiritual leadership. To me, a conscious leader is all that. It's obviously a servant leader because it's there to serve people at first, and it creates families and harmonious groups, embraces collaboration and not competition, inspires instead of giving orders. So it's not the same as a boss. A leader is someone that inspires and inspires by example, and mainly comes from love and compassion. And I think coaching is really great for that, because what I do, I train people to be coaches and teach them as well the conscious leadership values. Because if you want to be a leader or a coach, you have to have the same mindset, the coaching and the leadership both. And a leader with coaching skills is great, because then they have been taught to listen actively with all the being. They've taught about humility, about empathy, and those are the things that you learn as a coach.
Yes.
And the values that a leader must have in order to serve and to lead consciously.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. And now I'm lucky enough to, the rest of the Success4 team, we're all lucky enough to be a part of your Consciousness Academy. So can you share a bit about the Consciousness Academy?
Yes, Consciousness Academy is my little baby. It's a platform that I'm creating where what I see is like a place where all conscious people will go to learn about conscious leadership and everything conscious, so how to be better people, how to treat other better, how to be more conscious about the planet. So that's what I'm building, a platform where with training, with courses, with workshops and materials and eventually products, I can just not only talk about it, but offer solutions for people to, okay, well, I want to become a conscious leader. How do I do it? But they can do a course, or they can read something, or they can use products to have a better life and a more fulfilled life. And we also have the Consciousness Academy group in Facebook, where I put lots of love daily with posts and inspiration for people, just because my thing is to raise consciousness, so just make people aware of little things and big things that are happening in the world.
Yeah. So it's beautiful to be a part of that sort of community, because you can just tell everything that's in there it comes, like you said, it comes from a place of love. So you could be having like the worst day, and then you see a post come up in the group, and it's something that is going to raise your vibrations essentially. And I mean, it's something there's always the welcome messages, a list of people coming in, so it's growing. It looks as though it's growing at a big rate. Where do you see that group being sort of this time next year? What are your plans for the Consciousness Academy?
I haven't actually thought about it yet, because I'm deciding to have the Christmas period to plan. But now, thank you for giving me the space to think that. I would like to see the group growing exponentially, and having everyone who's actually working to raise their own consciousness or the consciousness of others to be part of that and contribute and work together, start collaborating in little groups, coming with new ideas of how we can take the group forward. So yeah, let's put out that the group increases by 10 times the size at the end of the next year.
I tell you what, we'll have a Christmas special podcast this time next year, and we'll just see the difference. And it's like you said, when you set an intention like that, and putting everything that you are into that group, you can only see it reaching all of those goals. So if we had somebody listening who like a small business owner, they work with a group of people, and they're looking at sort of exponential growth for themselves. Why is conscious leadership the way, why is that the way to go, and how is it going to benefit them and the people that they're sort of working with immediately?
Yeah, that's a good question, because talking about conscious leadership and conscious business, the focus is not on profit, and obviously business people who are not that aware or that ready will, wow, hang on a minute, but how are we going to survive with no profit? But it doesn't mean that conscious business or conscious leader is not working towards profit. It's just the priority is not to do profit at any cost. The priorities are the people. Social enterprises have good visions for the planet, and the profit comes as a consequence of that. And I believe in a world where we're all embracing all these values of conscious leadership, but we're also abundant in any way, in love, financially, and everything, because that's our birthright. That's the well-being, and the conscious leader inspires well-being, starting with him or herself, taking responsibility for their own well-being and their own happiness. So by doing that, it inspires others, and automatically it will inspire an organization to be more profitable in an ethical way.
I think that's huge, and it's moving away from being the conscious leader at work. That's a role for you as a way of being and as a way of living, clearly. So so you sort of mentioned things like workshops earlier on when you were talking about the group. How else are you working with people throughout 2018?
Well, I have I'm going to keep offering the one-to-one coaching sessions packages, but I'm going to put more focus on the coaching and conscious leadership course, which I'm developing. It's based on the course that I did in Spain, and translated that into English and adding the conscious leadership module into it, and that is going to be like a 10-month online program that I do with people, and it's going to be great, because it's not online like, oh, you pay for it and then you forget about it. It's going to be lots of support throughout the course for these people, in terms of Q&As and in terms of mentoring sessions. And by having a reduced number of people, like 10 or 12 maximum, all these people will have all my time. Wow. Instead of having so many people in there. So that's going to be my focus, because I feel that's how I can give really lots of value and actually build coaches and conscious leadership people. So that would be something for 2018. And then I'm going to carry on with the Unboxed You series, which is how to get someone into become a conscious leader from scratch, because obviously, well, where do I start? And it's a four step, hopefully to be 5 in the near future, 4-step process. The first one is unbox your heart. I believe that the first thing we need to do is kind of open the heart, and that includes all the spiritual things I have learned in my life. I do a heart meditation, an opening healing of the heart, and that actually embraces the higher values and allows you to heal all these fears and layers that we put through our lives around the heart. And then we go on to the finding inner peace, which is about learning to meditate. And what I like of that course that I developed is that I don't focus only on one type of meditation, because some people resonate with mindfulness. Other people might find that just walking in nature is meditation for them. So I open the door to all types of meditations that I've practiced, and I offer them in the course, and so people can choose which one they like and which one they prefer, and then incorporate that in your daily life. Because sometimes we say, oh God, everybody tells me I have to meditate, another thing to do. time. I don't have 5 minutes a day to meditate. But if you incorporate that during your life, during your daily routine, then not another thing to do. It's just something you do as well as.
This is it. It just becomes natural. So for somebody who is, you know, at that point where they're just starting out, who is the ideal sort of person that would come into that space that you've created, the Consciousness Academy? Who is the ideal person? So if you were, you know, inviting people into the group, what's the type of person that is going to benefit from being in the Consciousness Academy?
Yeah. It's someone who is actually realizing that there's something more to life than just working and doing the 9-to-5 job, and they have this calling and this awakening, but they don't know how to go to the next stage, or maybe they started but they need to know people and see if other people are experiencing the same thing, going through an awakening or a huge realization. It's a very tough thing if you don't know what's happening, and some people might feel that they're happening just to them and they're unique, and we've all gone through that. So it's a support network for people who are going through the awakening, or who feel like I said, there's something more, and I don't feel fulfilled. Start to hear about meditation or spirituality. So that's the kind of people. And also people who have actually evolved a little and maybe they feel a bit stuck. Done 100 years of meditation or whatever, but now I don't know. Now what? So that's a space for them as well. So all sorts of those people who are interested in.
So that's huge. I mean, just sitting here listening to it, and it's like you said, you know, when you set that intention, I don't know if it was sort of this time last year when you said I'm gonna get myself out there more, I'm gonna network. Is at first it is that initial, you know, you know, how do I go out there and connect with people? It's a bit awkward, but it's incredible that you've created a space such as the Consciousness Academy. So, and you know, I'm sure there will be people listening to this right now who are saying, you know, that's me. So thank you for creating the space first and foremost. Where else can people find you, Gema?
They can find me on my personal website, gemaramirez.com, where I tell you about my dreams and my story and all that. Then the consciousnessacademy.global, where you can find links to your podcast and your videos that I do for you, all the free stuff, and also my courses and workshops. And I run another project called Woman 5.0. So the website is woman5.global, and it's about creating conscious leadership, especially for women. So it's giving the space just for the women.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, you've given us a lot to think about there, and it's just as I said, things like, you know, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to managing people, is something that, you know, it's more than just reading a book and going on a course for how to manage people. It's really integrating it with who you are as a person. But obviously, to do that, clearly you need to, you know, you need to sort of go through things like this. So again, thank you for your time today. Thank you for what you're creating in the world. And as I said, I'm really excited because the Consciousness Academy this time next year, it'll be great to have you back on to see, you know, where that's at and everything that you're creating. And of course, we're lucky enough to have you as one of our contributors on the Success4 site regularly anyway. So people can contact you through there. As you said, we've got gemaramirez.com. The Consciousness Academy. So one thing I do like to do, Gema, before I let anybody else go, is what one book would you say has made a huge impact on you?
There has been many, but I think the one that comes to mind is Conversations with God. That was huge, and I'm lucky enough to have met Neil Donald Walsh in person, because I collaborate with Humanity's Team, which is the organization that it was created after his book. And that book, it will never go out of date. It's everything you need, really.
Well, I could sit here speaking another hour about that book, because I've listened to the first one, and then I sort of skipped on to the Awakening the Species, so the one that you brought out earlier this year as well. And I was just like, wow, this stuff is incredible. But yeah, again, thank you for your time, Gemma. As always, guys, we are Success4 Global on all social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you soon.